Hey Jack. Let's start the virtual tour, of the gallery. Just mine in the shop at the moment, so let's have a look. Okay, so this is the space. These are the little flyers we got. Actually, let's consider that an intro, and I'll switch the camera around and we can continue with the tour. Okay. So here we go. It's a bit better. Going down, this is the little gallery we got. Little flyers. We had colour ones, but they all ran out. Colour's expensive. All the works are listed up there. Little manifesto type thing, a little zine we got happening. Adrian's works, one of the guys. So let's start. Let's start in the other room. So we have two rooms to us, and then there's another guy that has a solo show in the other room. So let's go look at that one first. He's got loads of these like bread things. Oh, one sec. Alright, all good. Yeah, so some kind of all these crazy things happening. Whole wall just made of bread. Smells very salty. Which is pretty cool. Just kind of crystallizing. And he's wrapped all these chairs and other objects. Oh, one sec. Actually, I just realised I left my laptop out there. What's that? We might continue this. So part 3. So I'll continue just to show you the last little couple of things in the other guy's thing. So I won't spend too long with this because, hey, I feel like we're the main deal. Nah, still, we've got these kind of works, which are quite beautiful. I like how this is really soft. It's like really smooth and it kind of goes really organic. It's kind of nice. And then yeah, this guy, which is the same kind of thing. Okay, so now that some people have gone, I will continue the tour. So first, you walk in. It's one of my works. It's called Make-A-Wish. Which I find pretty funny. It's kind of... Oh, that's a bit better. It's kind of hard to see in some respects, but it's kind of got this very shimmery, like non-physical kind of feel where it... that's getting it a little bit. The amount of people that stood on this, or almost stood it last night, opening up was just ridiculous. So yeah, there's that work. It's kind of got these little clear suction cups. Oh yeah, you can just see the shadow of the cast actually there. Okay. And then next we've got Adrian's work, one of the other guys from uni. So he's got these three. The only works he put in the end were these three kind of like very powerful abstract gestural works, and they kind of work really solidly together. So it makes sense that he kind of, that was all he put in, because they're very, I think they're quite solid together. So yeah, they've got the kind of beauty is in the subtlety in some ways. Like, see that little bit of very shiny paint compared to the rest of the kind of more matte. There's all these, it's just laced with all these tiny little subtleties, and this sense of like him painting over and then going back. Like, it looks, what I'm trying to say is, it looks like it's very free and gestural and calligraphy, but then the closer you look, the more you see he's actually kind of gone back and like re-sculpted it, and it's a kind of fake free work. In actuality, it's quite pained upon, and there's this kind of sense of place, or with the kind of numbers, it kind of feels like it's like house numbers or something like that, or some kind of reference to something external as well, which is quite important, or time perhaps. And here's another one of his works. And here's the last one. Just freeze frame if you want to like have a proper look at anything. Because, I don't know. Otherwise it takes so long. My internet wouldn't do that. So, it's one of Xavier's works. It's kind of got this white piece of paper that connects it with the wall, which kind of, I don't know, really places an interesting kind of conversation in some ways with how it interacts as an object and painting with the environment. Kind of fuses very nicely. And also it's just, and you kind of get this kind of further reinforced by the fact that he's kind of, it's hard to see, but he's actually scratched back or kind of cut back into the wood and then painted into it as well. So the canvas itself is being tampered with, which kind of gives you this idea that it's not just this pristine kind of like infinite void in which he's kind of applying paint. It's an actual real life object. And then we got another one of his works. His use of paint is just so beautiful. He just really loves it. Like this kind of bit up there. Just the way it's scratched back, and it's really something he understands, and you get that sense. And then there's a line, a string that kind of comes off, again extends it into the real world. So these two works really talk about that. Next, I have one of my works. I don't know if you end up seeing one of these before, but it's these big black and white meditations which I've done. And meditations are the best way of putting it. It's called Detour, this work, and I came up with the title afterwards, so it's not like it's based upon that principle and I just did that. But it comes from looking at nature and really trying to understand fundamental patterns and natures of kind of not necessarily energies flowing from path to path, but in a sense it kind of is. In a sense, it's the way things erode, it's the way things grow, it's the way a lot of natural living things and kind of soil and earth and so many natural kind of elements interact with each other. And I'm kind of enacting that through this meditative process whereby one line starts off in a direct, in a kind of direct, in a direction, and then it's just constantly being influenced by the gravity of other lines, until everything just becomes completely entangled, and they become a singular movement of energy with in some ways no direction, but all directions at once. So anyways, it's one way to describe it. Got a bit airy-fairy there, but that's I'm not lying to you. Here's another one of Xavier's. Again, they're just very beautiful. Obviously, I can talk most about my stuff because I don't really want to talk to these guys too much. And I just love the way the oil paint on these just melts in, bleeds into the MDF. Something about Xavier's works in a lot of ways, they're works which kind of feel like they're made to live in a house. They feel like they're very kind of just normal, not mundane objects, but very, like, if something like that existed in the corner of your kind of cozy house, it would just kind of sit there and exist, I don't know, it would kind of work its magic the most in some ways. It have the largest impact, I feel. And yeah, all these things are based off actual either paintings or, either photos or landscapes he sees, and he kind of melts it together. So especially, so they're all quite based on real life things in a lot of ways. Okay, and I'll just do this room, and then I'll send the next room next time, because don't want to neglect my duties. This is another one of mine, and I don't think I called it anything in the end because it's just so loaded already. It's just a name would just kind of be too much. So we've kind of got this happening. It's super glassy land. There we go. Whoa, super glass. Same here, just everything's very glossy. But then when you come up close, there's a kind of weird organic bumpiness to it all. And the colours are coming off pretty good here, but in real life it's just like you can't even, like, it hurts your eyes to look at it kind of thing. It's very, very bright. And this comes out of a lot of the other objects you'll see in the next room. A lot of things I'm working on at the moment. I feel like creating more possibilities for the audience rather than answers is kind of what I'm trying to achieve with these objects. So they're half objects, half paintings, but I really don't want I kind of want them to work on different levels for different people. So the average person who doesn't really engage with the art dialogues and things like that, they could see it as a very optical thing, as quite a playful little movements and materials and things like that, and they go, and it's kind of very stroby on their eyes, and they go, oh, that's intense, like, and they can get that out of it as a kind of experience. And if they want to go further into like how that's happening and all these questions about what they think it represents, then that's great as well. A painter will look at it in a different way, whereby they're looking at gesture and kind of movement and composition. And a sculptor will also look at it in a different way in terms of looking at material very closely and its kind of objectness. So I feel like, that's really a lot what these works are trying to explore in a lot of ways, which is an answer but no answer at the same time. I enjoy people having lots of questions. I think that's an important thing. Okay, well, get ready for installment number 4, I think. A little bit. Okay, see ya, Jack. Okay, installment number 4. This is the last little room. So, first I guess you walk in, and this is where you see one of Xavier's works. Whew. So just warm. Especially in this kind of like little cove. If you remember what I was saying about the like it fits kind of well in a home or something, it kind of works well. It kind of feels like it's kind of in a more homely environment here in some ways. To me at least, almost like a chimney or something. Ooh, there we go. Ooh. Nice. And then you have this one. And this is my little work. It's a stick. But if you look closely, it's filled with all these little droplets. Ooh. Nah, someone stepped on it. The bastards. Classic. All my work is just like hides away a little bit. It's actually meant to be. Yeah. Classic. It's actually meant to be this way. Like that. There we go. You can see it's kind of got this very, I don't know, bubbly little droplets or something. There, which is nice. Then you've got this work of mine called Urban Mode. I really like this one. I think Tom Beatty's actually going to try and buy this one. I just need to work out how much I want to sell it for. Because I really, really like this. I don't know, half of me thinks like, I just kind of, my heart of me just wants to sell everything for $500. But I don't think I'm big enough artist to do that yet. I think that's a bit cocky. But all these works, kind of, Urban Mode, I don't know, you get the idea in some ways. They all come out of a kind of experience of material interaction in the urban life. So, I don't know, obviously they'll conjure different things with every person, and that's, as I was saying with the work before, like, I want them to stay very open. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, I want them to stay very open, but that being said, I still think I want them to stay very open, but they still relate very much to urban, in terms of materiality, to an urban existence, and kind of a collective memory of these materials and kind of experience of just living with these kind of materials in the age that we live. For instance, if someone saw this and they came from a kind of farmer village in Nepal or something, I don't think they would have the same reading of it as most people that are going to see it that I'm showing it to. And then I guess we'll go this way. This is another one of Xavier's. Yeah, it's kind of like this, on this. Again, got this kind of sense of the object, and the lighting even is very, kind of becomes quite powerful in a sense. Okay, so moving on. This is another one of Xavier's, and it has the same kind of, well, firstly this one's filled out a lot more than the other ones, which kind of gives it much more of a, to me at least, like a sinister or I don't know, it kind of pays more respect to the idea of painting in a traditional sense, although he does have still these grooves cut out and things like this little blow of paint which bridges these two large areas of white, which definitely insinuate the sense of the object, and kind of like curls it around, curls the image around, and in some ways you could even say with the lighting on the wall, it kind of connects it with the rest of the space around it. Definitely the colours are much darker emotionally, but yeah, it still depicts a very homely, very urban, very kind of common, intimate experience or environment. Like this is kind of a bed, and it's kind of painted in a way that reflects the kind of contours of the picture plane. For instance, the bed frame itself is very thin and removed, and things that would be closer to the view or more kind of voluminous in real life are kind of really popping out. And then lastly, got two of my little works. In a lot of ways, these kind of relate directly to this guy in a sense. They're all made in the same kind of time. And again, they're these kind of object paintings. This one kind of comes off from the wall completely, and even the top doesn't really fit. And there's this kind of kind of push and pull from the material, actually connecting it to the wall. And you can see it's kind of almost curving out of stress from that interaction as well. And that's quite important in the sense that it really firmly connects it, but doesn't connect at the same time to the wall. And yeah, this is on the little bit down there. Again, with the other one, every part of this is materially is very considered and very important, as it paints this kind of vague collective memory of these materials, and then kind of puts it together to kind of create a new experience, a new material, a new memory of sorts. And by doing that, it kind of overloads the brain slightly, I guess, and creates just a curious object which exists as something that's known but also kind of unknown. And you can just interact with it without some of the limitations of like a completely foreign material. So you can try and get past some of those little barriers. This is another work that kind of relates to it. Kind of has a shimmer onto the wall. It's just very vibrant red paint, the same paint that I had on the other wall. In some ways, these two works also relate to each other, as the white work is large and insinuates a small object. It's self-contained, and it's self-contained, and it's very much exists in the proportions of itself. For instance, the wood grain is like so what I'm trying to say in other ways is everything is within its scale, which is very much native to the material. Nothing's been pushed out. So it's in some ways a larger object which is contained by its own objectness. Whereas a small work in some way is a small work which insinuates a larger field of activation, a larger space within it. You've got these this kind of horizon line, and these three all over colours which you can kind of really travel into.
and there's a kind of sense of a horizon or a landscape or an extensive space that lies within that. And even just in terms of the vibrance, the red and the kind of reflection it has, I don't know if you can see it very well onto the wall, it kind of does spread out, whereas this work definitely shrinks inwards in a sense. Yeah. This is how it all works here. All these works kind of have a red band, almost a streak that runs through the whole thing, which ties them together pretty well. And yeah, this is final view all together. And there we go. Thanks for watching.